And women on the other side, when they find this man that they really like, that they really want, not all women, of course, but many will latch onto it. They
True.
want to make it work to the point where some will overlook red flags,
True.
overlook their intuition,
True.
dismiss talking to God, you name it, because they've locked into what they want.
That's called hypergamy. So again, lots of girls, when they get with Chad, they don't want anything else. And so that's the thing, right? They get with Chad for 20 minutes on a Wednesday. They try to, and they lock onto this guy, right? But he has multiple options. So he's not committing to that girl. But she thinks that that's the kind of guy now that she deserves. And bam, that's it, right? The girl is ruined. That's an alpha widow.
But the man, in a lot of cases, won't take it that far. And what this leads to is these situations where the man wants you in the sense that he desires you. And you have to understand that just because someone desires you doesn't mean they value you. Or
oh my god, again, this guy is using like very like feminized language, right? What he's trying to say is this: just because a guy will have bedroom fun with you doesn't mean he wants to commit to you. And you need to lower your standards. Like 99.9% of the time, the problems in the relationship can be fixed by partner selection. So if the girl is aiming too high, if she's aiming too high, the guy will not commit to her. And he won't commit to her because in his eyes, she's like, you know, she's got too many red flags, she's got too many problems, she's, you know, not attractive enough, etc. He's just there for a short fun time. So again, the solution to this problem is for women to secure the commitment up front, right? If the guy is not interested in a relationship with you, then she shouldn't be interested in bedroom fun with him, right? That's how it used to work. But of course, nowadays, these girls are jumping into bed with Chad on the first night and then surprised when you won't commit to them. Well, he won't commit to them because he has 10 other Stacys in the back, right? So there you go.
Just because someone desires you doesn't mean they can see them spending their life with you.
Right.
Desire could simply be, I want to be in her presence for the time being. I enjoy some of the benefits I think she can provide.
Okay, this is total BS, right? Like, this is not, like, again, very feminized language, right? Like, no, it's not enjoying being in your presence. It's not enjoying what you can provide. It's enjoying the bedroom fun. Let's call a spade, right? Like what are you doing? Stefan, tell these girls the truth. Oh wait, you can't, because if you do, you lose your money. Because 99% of your viewer base is girls.
It may be built out of lust, infatuation.
There you go.
Deep inside, he senses or knows he's not the right guy for you. And by default, you're not the one for him. And that's the thing. If you're not the one for him, he's not the one for you, at the end of the day, it boils down to the same thing, right?
Again, no, it doesn't, right? Because the way that you're phrasing it, Stefan, is girls have no agency. They have no power in this. If the guy doesn't think he's the right guy for you, then it's over, right? There's no like telling girls to be discerning about this. There's no telling girls that maybe their choices are wrong. There's no like, no, it's got to be as sugar-coated as possible. It's got to be as indirect as possible. It's got to be as as light as possible, right? Because you don't want to offend your dear viewers, right? Because if you offend them, then you'll lose the money that they're paying you. It's just so exploitative, that sort of that thought process that goes into that. It hurts, it pains me to see.
Right? But because a lot of men are, let's just say, weak to their flesh, because some of you are going to say, well, if he knows he's not the right one for me, or I'm not for him, why the hell is he bothering me? Why is he even flirting? Why is he doing?
Because men want to spread their seed. Men are polygamous and women are hypergamous. So the reason why he wants to be with you but not marry you is because he wants to sleep with you and 20 other girls. That's why. And Chad is able to do that. The top 5 to 10% of men, they're able to do that. right? Most men are not, but the guys that you're looking at because, dating apps, Instagram, Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, all of that have facilitated it for you. The only guys you're looking at are able to do it. And so that's what they do. Hello and welcome to heliosblog. My name is Helios. Here for another reaction video. If you're new to the channel, liking the content, hit the sub, hit all for notifications. If you'd like to support me further, I do have a Patreon with exclusive content. Just go there and subscribe to the default tier there. Again, your support is really appreciated. Okay, let's continue.
Doing these things that cause confusion. And again, I repeat, this is not validation, this is explanation. Because as I said, being weak to the flesh causes people, and men in this case, to get caught up in the moment. All right?
Yeah. This is like... So now Stefan is trying to absolve agency of both men and women. Like, Stefan... So what? He's the type of guy that believes that every single thing that we do in our lives is predestined, right? Like, the guy just gets caught up in the moment. He has no control of himself. He just does just whatever comes to him. Like, he's not in control of his actions. No, these men are in control of their actions and are actively choosing to sleep with you and then drop you, right? And again, if your standards are 6 foot plus, 6 figures plus, 6-pack, good smile, and charisma, well, I'm sorry to tell you, girls, that, like, you're going to have a bad time getting a relationship because these guys have so many options that it's going to be very hard for you to lock one of these guys down. Like, and so what's going to happen? What's going to happen is 10 of you are going to share the same guy and all complain about him. Like, that's, like... Again, it's not rocket science, but this guy, Stefan, will just lie to you and not tell you the truth and ruin your life, right? Because if you listen to this guy's BS advice, nobody has any agency. Nobody can make the choice. Like, for example, how about you choose a guy who actually would be a good man? One of the guys in your DM that actually would take you out on a date. One of the guys that would actually be nice to you. One of the guys that maybe doesn't have a million billion options, right? Like, just be a little bit, be judicious, be wise in your decisions, right? That's the way.
Right? To have moments where he allows that desire for you to blind him into acting out and doing things that will lead to confusion. And then once he kind of snaps out of the moment, he pulls back.
Yeah, no. Like, that's... I don't know what to tell you guys, but like that's such BS. I can't even, like, no. Men actively choose, once they've seen that you have some red flags, they're not going to want to stay, but they enjoyed the bedroom fun. Like, what is he saying? Like, when he snaps out of it, then he walks away. Like, again, this sort of advice, it allows women to hamster in their head, to spin in their head that, oh, the reason why he doesn't want to be with me is because he just realized he wasn't right for me. And like, so what's a girl gonna do when she's given this advice? She's gonna go and get with exactly the same archetype of man as before and get wrecked again. And then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. Because your advice, it doesn't actually help girls to get better results in the future. All it does is actively hurt them and make them repeat the same mistakes over and over. Your advice is terrible, Stefan. Terrible. So bad. Like, Stefan, do you know that you're hurting girls by giving this advice? Do you know? If you do, stop. And if you don't, please... get another day job. Like, this is not what you should be doing. Disaster.
And it just continues to be this push and pull because it's like he wants it, but he knows he shouldn't be there. He's not the one for you. Now,
okay.
Let me make something very clear. There are some men who know he's not the one for you or you're not for him, and they don't give a damn. And those
there
men,
you go.
Rather than just simply throw mixed signals, they will move forward with trying to be with you, even though they have no desire or no willingness to truly be what you need. All right? They have no intent.
Oh, Stefan. Right. So again, a good man would become exactly what you need. You see what I'm saying? Again, this is implying that the man should be in the woman's frame, right? He should become what you need. Where is telling girls they need to become what men need? Where is the you need to be fit, feminine, loyal, cooperative, bedroom fun, loyal, like submissive? Where is that advice? Where is that? It's nowhere. Like, again, it's Stefan, it's embarrassing. Embarrassing. All right, let's go to the Rollo Tomasi article. Again, this guy is the author of The Rational Male. Just look it up. Again, required reading for any man. So this is The Myth of the Lonely Old Man. Is loneliness a disease that necessitates a cure? If men could be made to believe so, think of the potential profit to be made from and the potential for manipulation of men. The real test for a man is how he lives with himself, alone. Precious few men ever truly allow themselves to be alone and learn real independence and self-reliance. The vast majority of guys, losers, particularly in Western culture, tend to transition from mother to wife with little or no intermission between. For the most part, they subscribe to the feminine imperative, becoming serial monogamous, going from long-term relationship to long-term relationship until they settle, without ever having learned and matured into how to interact as an adult. The fear of loneliness is entirely too exaggerated in modern Western romanticism. The popularized fear mythology of becoming the lonely old man who never loved is the new old maid myth made popular in an era when a woman's worth was dependent upon her marital status, and at least now, equally as false a premise. But in our brave new generation loser, men who've become women are repackaged and shamed into believing this horse crap as part and parcel of feminized gender role reversal. And thus we get speed dating and eHarmony and a host of other conveniences to pacify the insecurities that this reversal instills. Right, although the myth of the lonely old woman is not a myth. Anyway, I'm going to suggest that most AFCs, most feminized conditioned males, like and embrace the lonely old man myth because it's a buffer against potential rejection. Does that sound like a stretch? It shouldn't. When used from a feminized perspective, this myth is most certainly a shaming social convention with the latent function of getting men to commit to a feminine frame. You better change yourself soon, or your soulmate might pass you by and you'll be lonely and desolate in your old age. That's the feminized use of the myth. However, the internalized loser used the myth as a buffer. This then becomes his rationale for settling for a substandard long-term relationship or marriage. Exactly. It's really a triple whammy. There's the feminine reinforced fear of solitude, then the self-reinforced expectation of maturity or doing the right thing, and finally the use of it as a convenient retreat from rejection or potential rejection. And this is what I'm getting at when I refer to it as a buffer. Case example. I have a friend who's trapped in a passionless marriage with a woman who set the frame from day one. He'd like to come off as dominant with his male friends, but it's clear to most of our friends that his wife runs the marriage framing. Prior to meeting this girl, our friend was a serial monogamous branch swinger. The long-term relationship girl he'd been with prior to her ran the show in much the same way for almost 5 years. When he was finally freeing himself from her, with a bit of my own help, he started to see the value of being single and independent and began dating non-exclusively for about a 3-month period. After meeting his now wife, he gradually tried to find suitable ways to withdraw and become exclusive. Knowing what our reaction would be, he began searching for all kinds of rationale to effect this and settled on the myth of the lonely old man. His story was the classic one, where a guy shakes off his old ways of thinking about women and dating and almost unplugs from the matrix, but fails to kill his inner loser and slides back into his old beta mentality once he'd secured another soulmate, quote unquote. Here was a guy who'd spent more than half of his 20s in a miserable long-term relationship who managed to briefly unplug for about 3 months before latching onto another oneitis. Yet his reasoning was, I'm tired of the dating games. I need to settle down. I don't want to be lonely when I'm 60. This from a guy who's only been single for 3 months of his life. It was his buffer. Of course, he's now resentful and pensive about his marriage and lives life vicariously through his single friends, while at the same time self-righteously scolding them for being single. Hilarious. All right, back to this video.
Of ever becoming that man. They're simply trying to take from you all that they can. So now,
Right, and this is what Jordan Peterson gets at, right, where he says that dating apps, etc., encourage men to be sociopaths, right, to exploit and then discard. But I would argue this. I would argue that dating apps actually don't make men sociopathic. It actually just makes women fall right into the arms of the most attractive men who have options. It's not that they're sociopaths, it's that they have so many options that they simply don't care, right? So it just happens organically. The more options you have, the less you care about any individual option, right? And options are power, right? So the more options a guy has, the more power he has. So there you go. Right? And again, this is why I say it's very important for men to have options, or at least for their girl to know that they could have options, so that she knows that she can't disrespect you, because if she does, well, you're immediately going to fall into the arms of another, right? So that's just the way it goes. And again, like this, man, this advice is just like, Stefan, man.
you could make the argument that that man will still show a level of mixed signals within the relationship, but his willingness to even go in a relationship with you when he's unwilling to step up to the plate is blatantly a man who's just trying to take advantage of you.
Right. So again, this like Stefan is saying, a good man will step up to the plate. A good man will take care of you. A good man will become what you need. A good man will, like, Stefan, your framing of relationships is absolutely awful. It's terrible. Like, teaching girls that they should be in charge of the relationship is actively going to hurt them. Women are not supposed to be in charge. Women need to be with a man that they respect, a man that they want to lead them, a man that they see as above themselves and willing to allow themselves to be below. Like, again, you can't have an equal relationship. Equal means the girl's in charge of the frame. Because again, women are communal creatures, right? So, like, if it's equal, quote unquote, it means that it's in a feminine frame, which means it's in her frame, which means she's in charge. You see, guys? Which is also why you can tell if a girl is going to have red flags. Let's say a coworker, if she has a hyphenated last name, it means that she sees herself as, quote unquote, equal to her husband, which means that she sees herself as superior. Right? Which means she sees herself as superior to men in general, basically. And on it goes.
And be selfish in that situation, so to speak. But the dynamic that I'm really speaking to is the man who, he doesn't seem willing to cross that line. Because again, he knows it's not the right thing to do, but he has this temptation towards you, so to speak. Now, let me also throw this out there. Because I think a lot of women don't realize how often this next thing happens. There are men who have a conscience, okay? And when I say that, I mean, like, they meet a woman like yourself. They view you in high regard. And you got to understand, not believing you're the one for them or they're the one for you does not equate to not viewing you as a great woman. It doesn't equate to not thinking that you would make...
Okay, this like this again, Stefan. All he's doing here, there's no advice here. He's just pandering. He's like, oh, guys just see you as a great girl. Guys love you. Guys think you're great. There's nothing wrong with you. You know, like, anything to keep the girl from taking responsibility. Anything to keep the girl from taking accountability. Anything to keep her from her own bad decisions. Anything to keep us, the audience, from thinking maybe something should change about me. No, it's all about what the men need to do, what the men think, what the men should do. You're a female dating coach, but not a single thing that you've said so far is actionable advice. Everything is just, it's not your fault, it's men's fault, basically. Terrible, awful advice. Worst. Stefan, you're a sociopath. There's nothing else I can say. Because only somebody who knew what they were doing on purpose would purposely just pander to his audience and not tell them the truth and not give them useful advice just to sell to them. It's disgusting.
Make a great wife. It's just them feeling that this isn't the right fit, all right? And when you have a situation where the man knows it's not the right fit and he views you in high regard, he becomes less willing to fully engage with you. All right.
So what is Stefan saying here? He's saying he's just trying to give girls the best way to hamster away why their relationship didn't work out. Chad didn't commit to you because he just didn't see you as the right fit. Chad didn't commit to you because he's using you. Chad didn't commit to you because he feels he's not the right one for you. Like, you see, there's no you chose the wrong guy. There's no you were overweight. There's no you were an asshole. There's no, do you see what I'm saying? There's no you were a garden tool. There's no your end count was too high. There's no your friends are annoying and a bad influence on you. There's no your parent life and your way of dealing with relationships is a disaster. There's none of that. There's just blame it on men. It's all men's fault. Here is why men, like disaster.
Right? So like I've heard men throughout all my life where in some situations they'll be like, you know what, she's a really good girl. I don't even, hell, I know of men who are...
You can't use your anecdotal experience and generalize to the whole population. Sorry. So this is like, again, terrible advice. It's just female-centric advice. You can't, like, this doesn't work. You can't say, one of my friends, and then generalize to all men. No, you can't do that. That's a logical fallacy.
Even friends with women who they may be highly attracted to that woman, want to sleep with her, as if the opportunity came, they would love to jump on it, right? But they view her in such high regard and they know that crossing that line could lead to hurting her, so they'll like leave it alone altogether.
Okay. Oh, and what the guy is saying is that she's attracted to that man and wants to be with him, but he won't initiate. Okay, sure, although I don't think that would be why the guy wouldn't be with her. In such a case, it's probably more like he's married, he has a girlfriend, it's too messy, they're co-workers, etc. It's not, I mean, it's not the right fit. Hogwash is just code for that. Like,
but because the desire still exists or the attraction still exists, it can lead to moments of what is going to be interpreted as mixed signals. So this guy may not be blatantly trying to confuse you. I mean, he's not blatantly trying to confuse you. He's just not mastering his own desires. He's not.
Again, he's not trying to confuse you. He's just, there's just something wrong with him. Like, nothing about women here. He's a female dating coach, but he hasn't in an 8-minute video given a single piece of actionable advice. Not one, guys. 0 advice. It's just blame men, blame men, blame men, blame men, blame men. Like, what? Disaster. Oh my god. Okay. Let's go on to the article again from Relationship Advice from 7 hours ago. Please help with my husband's midlife crisis. He's no longer acting like the man I married. I, 33 female, always had difficulty dating. That's a red flag. However, when I met Howard, things just fell into place. He was sweet and actually listened. Red flag. She's alpha widowed by a guy that didn't listen. He wouldn't try to press me to do things I didn't want to. And he was okay with just spending a quiet day together. So 2 years ago when I was proposed to, I of course said yes. We decided to keep our finances separate and have a prenup in the event of a divorce. I loved my husband, 40, male, and the relationship we had, but these last few months have been difficult. So again, he wouldn't try to press me to do things I didn't want to. So literally, they didn't have to have bedroom fun. Everything was in her frame. At first, it started relatively small, with him changing the way he dresses and switching out his cologne for something that's much cheaper. He claims he just wanted to switch things up, but his new style seems to be emulating early 20-year-olds. I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't very well force it out of him, so I planned to be there when he needed me. When he asked me to a club with him, I really wanted to say no, but I've made him tag along places he didn't enjoy, so I decided I could at least be with him while he gets it out of his system. However, he seemed to think anything I'd wear was too bland. I put on the flashiest clothes I had and stuffed myself in a hot, dark room with loud, just out of college-aged kids. He wanted to dance and drink, and I really tried, but I have sensory issues. When someone spilled a drink all over it was all too much for me. And I told my husband I'll meet him at home. He seemed disappointed, but I didn't know what he expected from me. What he expected was submission and for you to go out and have a good time because you're the type of girl that won't do anything his way. Clearly. In the following weeks, he got only more fond of partying and ended up getting fired for his lack of professionalism. He would often stay out long past when I went to sleep and come back only to stink up our bed. For obvious reasons, we stopped having bedroom fun, and he tried proposing a three-way to spice things up again. To say I was disgusted would be an understatement. I brought up therapy, even offering to pay, but he just stated he's no longer looking to waste his life. Since then, I've been sleeping in my guest room. I knew roughly how much he had saved and had been counting down the days till he would have to look for a job again. When his money ran out, he withdrew from his IRA. He also started bringing up his thought of how to split finances were a sign of a toxic relationship. After a while of me not suggesting what he hoped, he ended up directly asking me to merge finances, aka letting him burn through savings. When I refused, he accused me of financial A-word. I even tried an ultimatum, but called me A-word for that as well. The only advice I've gotten in person has been either leave him or just wait it out. As for leaving him, he's held his last job for almost 20 years and then left on bad terms. He has no savings, ever-decreasing retirement account, lease on his car is almost up, he has no living family, and his friends have created distance since his midlife crisis. He doesn't even have a home. We've been staying in my condo. Leaving him would mean leaving him broke and homeless. As for waiting it out, I'm already at my wit's end. So since I've tried everything I could think of, why not ask strangers on the internet? Okay, so this is a disaster. The guy got into a terrible relationship where the girl, was favored in every single way. He got upset. When he tried to, change things up, she didn't go with it because she's had a fun and now she's in a settle down phase. So why is her, beta Billy husband, why is he not doing what beta Billy husband is supposed to do? He's out of line. Now I want to divorce him. Okay, let's see, with 322 upvotes. This is a bit of an extreme and worrying transformation. You often hear it the other way around, in that people might pretend to have lots of energy for partying and going out, but in time it's obvious they prefer a quiet life. It seems rare to do that in reverse. Would you say his whole personality has drastically changed? Is he more impulsive now? Is he quicker to anger? Something must be going wrong. He's messed up his career, his finances are getting messed up, and he's on the verge of losing his wife and his home. Something must have triggered this. Has he seen a doctor? There will come a point where you just need to prioritize yourself. Evidently, you're close to that point. Reply is the early change. The change has been pretty drastic. He's impulsive. Okay. 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 So let's see what they seem like stupid decisions, and I don't know what his end game here is. Oh, disrespect, cool. But every step of the way, it seems like he's put at least some thought into it. He also hasn't been quick to anger. In fact, the opposite. He's always calm, but now he just gives up on a conversation if it's not going his way. I agree something must have happened. He won't talk to me, and if I ask him to see a mental health professional, he just tells me it's a waste of time. So basically, he's decided to grow a spine, and now his wife wants to divorce him. Although, I don't know why he would party and waste all his money. That seems stupid to me, but anyway. Okay, we're going to end the video there. Again, guys, if you're new to the channel, liking the content, please hit the sub, hit all for notifications. If you'd like to support me further, I do have a Patreon with exclusive content, patreon.com/theheliosblog. Just go there and subscribe to the default tier. Again, I appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much for listening, guys, especially if you took the time out of your busy day to listen to the end of the video. Really do appreciate it. You guys are fantastic, and I will see you next time.